from the others.
Welcome, welcome. Um, this will be a ramble video, but I just wanted to give my thoughts on the heavy bowgun, or I guess bowguns in general, when it comes to wilds. I feel like they definitely suffered for the transgressions of world, so I kind of wanted to speak on the changes to the guns and why I'm not particularly fond of the streamlining they did, even more in wilds. So, starting with World, I do think that the big problem in World was that the ammo types themselves weren't as viable as you'd like them to be for the amount of work it took to use them, which is why, like, when Base World first came out,
Commencing quest
um,
now. Are you prepared?
slicing was incredibly popular to fight monsters with because you didn't have to worry about critical distance, and in terms of damage values, it was just as good as anything else. And like clusters, the damage was stupid, so like there was no reason to use other things. I do think that the problem was they nerfed slicing and clusters, but they didn't buff the other ammo types to make them worth using,
I'll just
which
hop
was
up.
very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Like what I would have done
Now
is
we're cooking.
make the other ammo types like elemental, spread, pierce, normal actually worth using, despite how strong uh, the other ammo types were. And I think that kind of created like a cascading, or yeah, I'll just say cascading effect in terms of how um, bowguns were done later in that game, because their answer to making you want to play spread, pierce, normal was just to increase clip sizes. Guns went from having 3 or 4 clips to 6, 7 plus clips, which that kind of sustained DPS. Yeah, that's going to make bowguns incredibly strong. Whereas if they had buffed the ammo types themselves, you
Shields
could have
inbound.
kept clips at size 3 or 4. But then, now you get to wilds and they've taken recoil and reload mods away. Spread has crazy recoil to the point where most people don't use it, even though it was a lot of people's favorite ammo type, at least of the, raw ammo types. Try to talk Kaiju at the same time. It's not going how I would like it to go. But back to what I was saying. So, you know, they nerfed bowguns because of the transgressions of world and possibly rise too. I mean, like in Rise, Elemental was the insane one because they gave it a piercing effect, which I'm not even mad at, but I guess I will say that is like if you're going to give Elemental a piercing effect, you might as well just make Elemental versions of the raw ammo. So Elemental Normal, Elemental Pierce, Elemental Spread, which I wouldn't even be mad if they somehow introduced that. Well, I mean, they're not going to introduce it in Rise, but they'll probably introduce it in the next off-brand uh, Monster Hunter for the Switch or whatever it comes out. Other things they changed to nerf bowguns because of transgressions of world. They took away like ammo up and spare shot. Like, I don't agree with those either. I think when it comes to the guns themselves, I already spoke about the recoil and reload changes, but you know, like I actually like the ability to mod guns for specific playstyles or to play with a specific ammo. Kind of sucks that they took that away. Wise to a certain degree. So that was a but what could I imagine doing? Because I mean, you know, at least going off past moves, they will. Well, I can't think of the time they really buff weapons so much as nerf. But if they were, oops, but like yeah, if they were to make changes to Bowguns that I would like to see, especially in the next game, are eventually add elemental versions of the raw animal types, bring back oil mods, make yeah, make um, keep levels on ammo types, but make them viable in different situations. So like going back to older Monster Hunter games, you know, like I'm gonna just use Generations as an example. There were times where like Pierce level 1 was of better use than Pierce level 3. In World and Rise and Wilds, it is better just to have the higher level at all times. Now you could, you know, because like they all work the same. It's just that the higher level ones add ticks on top of whatever the base amount is. I don't have the numbers on me, but y'all get the point. Which you could obviously do to make the other ammo types more viable is outside of rapid fire or increased clip sizes, bow guns can have special properties when it comes to a specific ammo type. You can bring that back because you know, back in the day, certain bow guns did have certain ammo types specific to them. You could see that they really tried to do that with wilds. You know, like there's like two bow guns that have, I mean, there's like two heavy bow guns that have slicing ammo as a possible thing. Thing. It feels more like a nerf than you trying to reintroduce internal ammos outside of the standard Wyvern Heart and Wyvern Sniper. And speaking of that, now talking mostly on heavy bowgun. In Wilds, I don't particularly care for the fact that they like the way it plays does feel like if you're not playing elemental, it's you know Wyvern Heart, dump the clip, attack with whatever else you have until Wyvern Heart uh, readjusts itself and you get your meter back. I definitely preferred Wyvern Heart in the world where it was a once in a while thing. You were still building around whatever specific ammo type. Because frankly speaking, if I'm being honest, while Wyvern Heart is cool going Rambo on a monster, I think it is more fun to play around a specific ammo type. As a heavy bowgun main myself, I find myself mostly using elemental. But you know, if I'm finding something that isn't really weak to element, like arc build, I kind of have to use uh, I have to use the Wyvern Heart up with Pierce. Maybe abuse the corrupted mantle because that gives your energy back like super fast. Yeah, I just think that like just being transparent, like the playstyle of both is, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's not nearly as interactive as other weapons. And I think where a lot of the fun in being a bowgun user comes from is in the utility and mod capability of like, setting up for them versus when you're actually in the hunt and you're just, you know, holding left and right trigger the whole time. So, uh, I do hope they take the feedback um, that they're generally getting about bowguns, because at least from what I've seen, they're not very popular in this game, which, just might be what Capcom was going for because of how popular they were in Worlds, the transgressions of World. But like, if you want to make them fun without being OP, just give them more mod and utility capability, if that sentence makes sense.
Leave this to me. Heels inbound.
Well, but one thing I'm hoping not to get in Wilds specifically, because like right now, overall in the arcade, bowguns are the best bowguns. I mean, there's some bowguns that can keep up, like the Garden Archbell and Fort Medalla bowguns. But I can imagine in tile update they're going to give upgrades to the Arden weapon. It kind of just seems like that's how the system is going, especially since in the base game, like Arden levels cap out at 2, but there's nothing at least on the raw weapons or shorter 5e level for young elemental too, which would definitely make Arden's the best programmers. So like I don't want to see them introducing upgrades to the Arden system without something to kind of counteract it, like a new monster a la Cold that just gives release a new set of weapons. Um,
All right.
well, we're talking about tile update 1. Tile update 1 is usually, it's usually like one monster event quest, possibly tempered to a greater degree, maybe even arch tempereds. I could see, Misusume definitely giving gunners the best armor available, just because you can't beat. I mean, especially for heavy bowgun, you can't beat like a evade extender that also gives you like plus 20 raw on your attacks. Like, I imagine it's going to be great. But again, just me rambling and giving my thoughts on the state of bowguns. I feel like in an effort, well, to recap, in an effort to get them back in line, you made them
That like
less like we still have the same problem where certain ammo types just aren't fun to play, and it is pretty much Pierce and Elemental that feel good. I feel like you want a state where everything feels good. If I want to play normal, if I want to play spread, Elemental, Pierce, I am not necessarily in the camp that feels you should be able to clear hunts with stickies and clusters, because those feel more like setup or finisher areas to me. So like I'm not mad at the nerf to those, but like yeah, the raw animals should at least be playable. The spread nerf I feel was doing too much, especially since if we're being honest, like if you're playing spread, it's the most dangerous form to play as a gunner. So it would make sense that it does the most damage. Spread on light bowgun, you can like get on one knee and shoot two. Like that feels okay, but I feel like the recoil is not a good thing, especially when they've adjusted critical distance going both ways. Like, yes, there's a damage drop off when the monster's at a certain distance from me, but there's also a damage drop off when I am very close to the monster, which, for Pierce and normal, I don't even think it's on normal. For Pierce, that makes sense, but for spread, it doesn't make sense that, like, if I'm literally hugging the monster, I'm doing less damage. So actually, yeah, if I could ask for any change in patches or tile updates, it would be getting rid of the um, distance damage drop off when I'm close to the monster using spread.
Well, what can I do for you?
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Again, it's just a ramble video. Appreciate anyone who took the time to listen. Yeah, peace.